guys, I'm Levente from Hungary. I'm very happy to be here on the Down and Dirty Weathering contest number 2. I've been model railroading for about 10 years now. I started with American and I started with N-scale, so I never really left that path, about which I'm pretty happy. In this video I would like to try to show you what I gathered throughout these 10 years. There are a couple of techniques with a couple of different types of paints. I will be using acrylics, enamas, oil paints. I'll do a bit of airbrushing most probably, and also will utilize the help of pigments to have a better result. For this purpose, for this video, I chose a very basic railcar, a DUPX 4-bay covered hopper. I think it is from Atlas, but I'm not even sure. It's a basic little railcar. The details are not the best, but I really want to show you how easy it is to transform this toy-looking model into something you could see on the rails today, and to encourage anyone who is thinking about getting into weathering, but also thinks to himself that hey, I don't have the skills, I don't have the capabilities to do it. I think the most important thing is just to start, and that's what we'll do now. So here's a close-up about the model. As you can see, the details are not that intricate. The walkways, for example, are not edge metal, but rather of plastic. The stairs, the ladders are a bit clumsy. As you can see, the paint job here, I might be able to show you, the paint job is not the crispiest you can get on the market, but nevertheless we will turn this railcar into a very fine looking model, I'm sure about that. I already replaced the wheel set to metal wheels, and the couplers have been replaced to micro trains couplers. I think it will look quite good. So let's get into the prototype research. In my opinion, prototype research is one of the most important and most fun part of weathering, where you can get inspired by the real rail cars which are running on the tracks, and you can try to apply what you see there to your model. Actually, I haven't found any pictures of DUPX 36025 on the internet, but I found very similar rail cars. Again, 4-bay cover hoppers of the DuPont Corporation, red, same paint job, same labeling, same everything, and we'll get inspired by those to weather this model. So for prototype research, I usually go on railroadpicturearchives.net, where you can see usually pretty good pictures of the actual or very similar cars. And on this specific car, you can see a huge amount of fading and a terribly large amount of rust. I'm not sure that I've ever seen this amount of rust, streaking, and also chipping. So we'll have a couple of things to do with this rail car to make it look like the ones in real life. First things first, I'm going to disassemble the model with this tool, which is like very similar to a hobby knife, which you can see here, but it doesn't have any blades. So I'm going to disassemble, I hope you can see, the trucks. Maybe I after all use the hobby knife. So remove the trucks, yes, like this, like this, and then remove these parts, which I can hopefully do. Yeah, you see how it's not glued there, because the plan is to paint this gray, because as I saw on the prototypes, this is not red on the actual real cars, but it's rather grayish, not metal color, not anymore. I don't think it was ever shiny, but we'll paint it gray. So this is how it is. I'm gonna bath this car in let's say lukewarm water with a bit of soap, and then we are getting into airbrushing.
So this is how the card looks after being cleaned off. I made a photo of it, and afterwards I started with fading. That's the first step of the actual weathering. I created a solution of 4 drops of white, 1 drop of sand yellow and 20 drops of airbrush thinner. I mixed it together and tried to achieve a faded look on the rail car by airbrushing this on to its sides and ends and for the top in rather thin layers, so this took quite a while actually. As you can see, the base color was a very strong red, and that's what I wanted to reduce. I wanted to reduce the power of that color, and that's exactly what you can see on the rail cars which are out in the sun, the snow, the rain. Their colors will get shaded. So after a while it started to look pretty good, and 15 minutes later I was satisfied with the fading and decided to put on a layer of let's say rust and brake powder, which was 2 parts medium rust and 10 parts airbrush thinner. The aim with this was to give an orange yellowish tint to the rail car, which I could see on the prototype pictures that most of these cars gained throughout their lifetime. And already after a couple of minutes, since orange is a pretty strong color, you could see the difference on the rail car. I tried to apply this on the bottom, and what's coming now, the dark rust, the old rust, to the top because of the different types of rusts that can be built up on a rail car, the streaks, the chipping and everything. And I was aiming for a very basic kind of modulation here. I'm not even sure you can call it that, but I was definitely aiming for something that that can be used later as a basis for the other weathering techniques, on which I will be able to elaborate further the chippings, the streaks and everything. So I was satisfied with the result, the colors, and I applied a gloss varnish over this. And after I finished with that, I also painted the walkways on the top to a light gray color, which was composed of 2 parts medium sea gray, 3 parts white and 3 parts airbrush thinner.
Okay, so here's how the car looks like after the varnish. And I found out that I missed the part. I wanted to paint these caps here silverish color, an aluminium color, because I think that they are made of aluminium and that can be seen on the pictures. So that's what I'm gonna do now. And for that I'm going to use a half-half mix of Vallejo model colors, natural steel and medium sea gray. Okay. So again, wet your brush. And just very small movements. Very small amount of paint is enough here. Okay, so the next stop is beam wash. So some clouds appeared, so I can't show you the proper colors now, but anyway I'd like to advance this with this model, and the next step will be to apply panel line wash from Mig Jimenez, neutral brown, It's gonna be our color today. And somehow I don't like the texture of this wash at the moment. It seems to be thick at places, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of turpentine to mix it with, and try to dilute it in this turpentine and apply it like that. So let's see how this will go. The idea behind the panel wash is to emphasize details by creating, let's say, shades in more recessed areas. It should look something like this. Seems to be working properly. So you can see how the paint is running, because it's an oil paint, and maybe you'll be able to see how it emphasizes little details on this model. I hope I'll be able to show you that later. Maybe I'll have to wait a little so some natural light will come in the apartment. Now looking at the model, it already looks much better, but we'll just come back and reduce the amount by dripping some Q-tip in white spirit, or you can do it with turpentine like I will do it. You just roll it down like this, so it's not gonna be wet but moist, and just brush it down where you think that it's a bit too much, the previously applied effect, like that. It's really easy to just move the excess away. Okay. It's a bit too much, I think. Oh, especially here. There. Our next step will be chipping, which will, in case of this model, mostly happen on the top of it, here. And for that we are going to use a simple yet very effective method with some acrylic paints. And for that we are going to use probably two Vallejo modular colors, light rust and burnt umber, and also two MIG acrylic colors, medium rust and old rust. What we are going to do basically is just take a tweezer like this, tear some foam from anywhere, basically from any case or anything, and just like this, yeah, just like that. Hold that with the tweezer, yeah, hold it like this, dip it in the paint and dip it on the model with all the colors, and this will give us a very nice chipping effect, I think, like this.
after applying all the colors, the top of the rail car looked like this, and the sides look like this, and I was pretty satisfied, so I gave it a coat of gloss varnish. Looking at the model, I wasn't satisfied. I missed something. So I decided that I will cut this paper with my laser cutter, and will apply the same method as with the chipping to have this effect of having the ridges which were not originally on the model, where dust and rust really likes to build up, and have a more 3D look to the whole model. Therefore, that's what you can see here. And after that came the streaking effect part, where I used mostly highly diluted enamel paints, mostly rust colors, the first layers, and with a small brush, I think it was a 00 or a 000 brush, I applied these streakings on the rail car, and you will see later that also on the top of the rail car. That's step 1. And for step 2 of the streaking effect, I used a flat brush which was barely moist with turpentine. I moved the brush in a downward fashion to smooth the edges of the previously applied streaks. Altogether, 3 layers of rust colors were applied with this technique, and a bit of light grey and dust color as the final one, so as the 4th layer, to resemble dirt streaks. This effect has to be the last layer and always comes after the rust. I did the same on top of the rail car, starting from the middle. Looking at the model and the prototype pictures, I decided to liven the rail car a little. So I decided to scrub off the paint from over the reporting mark and rail car number to make it look like it has been patched. I was pretty satisfied with how this turned out, so I gave it a spray layer of gloss varnish, and I went on to apply reflector decals. I got these from Smokebox Graphics, and I have been very satisfied with them. When I was happy with how the reflectors were positioned, I hand-painted small aged graffiti on one side. I've seen this actual graffiti on one of the prototype pictures. I haven't shown you in the video, but I did the same steps with the walkway on top and the trucks, like the steps I did with the body. When the oil paints were already dry, I spray painted a layer of matte varnish on top and assembled the model, and basically considered it finished.
It's been real fun working on this project. Actually, I learned a lot, not just about video making, but also about weathering. You'll notice if you start weathering, if you'll start to paint your models, you will learn every day something new. And I'm really glad that I've been able to do that now as well. It was so fun actually. I already started my new car. It's a very similar hopper, it's a BN hopper. So when you get the hang of it, it's kind of like a drug. It's kind of hard to get off of it. So it's been a real fun. I hope you enjoyed the video too. And until next time, see you then.